Hi everyone, welcome to the new season of Mompreneur Space Live Show podcast where I interview inspiring moms from all around the world so that you can learn how they overcome their challenges and struggles as mompreneurs. I'm your host Kenneth Choo and today is 101 episode of Mompreneur Space Live Show podcast. And this podcast basically started from a very simple thought of sharing inspiring mompreneur stories so that mompreneurs can share and resonate and start to make a difference in their or their family's life. In the past 5 years, I've met amazing mompreneurs, shared their stories. I'm very blessed to have connected with them and share their story on my podcast. And today, to start off with the new season, I have this amazing mompreneur that I met last year through a friend who's in Web3. And he told me that I need to get connected with her. And when I got connected with her, I met her for the first time. She has an amazing story. And I would say that she is the first woman in Web3 that I've known. When I got connected with her, she shared amazing story. We connected immediately and I didn't know that she's a mom. She's really young. She's an amazing mom, and at the same time, Nicole is an independent young female entrepreneur and a mother of two kids who has successfully built a multi-million-dollar brand that is aimed at empowering Asian women. Nicole is also passionate about helping other women to achieve success and believe in the power and the future of Web3. In this episode, we will be talking about how to run a successful NFT project. And Nicole will be also sharing with us how she overcome her challenges and struggles as a mompreneur. So without further ado, for those who are tuning in live and for those who are listening, do let us know in the chat by typing 5 to welcome our amazing guest, Nicole Yap, Asian mom. Let's welcome Nicole. Okay, hi Nicole. Okay, you hold on. Okay, good. Hi Nicole.
Hi everyone. Good
Good to
morning.
have. Good morning to you. Thank you for making time and coming onto this podcast interview. We have been talking about this for a while since last year, and finally having you as the first guest for this podcast for this new season is really exciting for me. And and at the same time, I also told you that because after meeting you, I said, okay, I need to start my new season. So finally, we are starting this new season. So
Mm.
Nicole, before we start, right, maybe you can say hi to everyone who's tuning in, or for those who are watching the replay. Maybe you can do a short introduction of yourself, share with them where you are from and what are you currently doing. Over to you, Nicole.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. It was such a pleasure to be in your 101 episode. So, to introduce myself, my name is Nicole. I am 26 this year. I'm a mother of two, and I have started my entrepreneurial journey since I was 17. So, I have kind of came a long way. It's been about 9 years. I have started a few businesses. Some of them are successful, some of them, didn't make it. But really happy to share. So right now, I have I started a NFT company called 8SIAN. So we are a NFT project aimed to empower women and also celebrating the Asian cultures in the NFT space. So yeah, happy to share more.
Thank you, Nicole. And because when you talk about NFT, maybe you can introduce for especially mothers, right? For the first time they're hearing this word NFT. What does NFT mean? Maybe in short introduction about what is NFT.
Yeah, so in short, NFT means non-fungible tokens. So if you guys are familiar with crypto, um, so NFT, it's almost the same thing. So it's basically a digital asset that is tokenized in the blockchain. So back in the day, so before blockchain exists, all our digital media or digital artwork, they are all um, you can't really own any asset online, but now thanks to the technology of blockchain and NFTs, you can finally tokenize and own a digital asset. So that's basically what NFTs are. Yeah.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for sharing what is NFT, in short, which is non-fungible token. And at the same time, because about NFT, right? Maybe you can share with us how did you get yourself in the Web3 space, and why do you choose Web3? Because I know that you ran a few business before, and why this time in Web3 and why NFT?
I guess like why not, right? So it's just like in every business that you start, whenever you see a potential in the industry and you see that you have some sort of skill sets that you think you could thrive and you could try on this new space. I think the answer would just be like to go for it, because most of the times you wouldn't know if this thing would work unless you give it a go. So for me, growing up, I've always wanted to work in tech, because the whole idea of tech, being just it's just really futuristic. And for me, I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, but I do want to have a space and establish myself somewhere in tech someday. So this has always been something that I wanted to do. So when the pandemic happened, everyone was staying home, and that's where the cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin and Ethereum and all of the other um, market was pumping, simply because everyone was at home, right? Due to the pandemic, like no one could go out, so everybody was hanging out online. They were hanging out on social media, on Discord, and then that's where the whole metaverse narrative came about as well, because everybody wanted to socialize and meet their friends. So that's what happened, and I was in that phase. I saw how the demand and the volume and the amount of people jumping into the metaverse, jumping into the space, just trying to make connection, trying to form friendships, relationships, business. And for me, back then when I was joining the NFT space, my first NFT project that I bought was a penguin. So there was this
Hmm.
project called the Pudgy Penguin. So that was my first NFT that I bought. So when I was joining the community, I realized that most of them are guys. And if you look at the penguins, like even the photos of the NFT, they are, I mean, they are penguins, but you can see that they have like a bow tie and stuff like that. So it's more male trait. So for me as an Asian woman, I wanted to kind of be represented as well, because it's art, and and it lives on a blockchain, and it's really amazing how you can kind of create a community and gather like-minded people. So there are a lot of Asians out there, a lot of women out there.
Hmm.
So that's what inspired me to start Asian. Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, that was the thing that attracted me to get connected with you, because knowing that you are the NFT project Asian is representing women, especially Asian women, and also Asian culture. So as you were mentioning about the what really maybe struck you to really use or even represent, even came out of this project? Why Asian women and Asian culture
I think there is a lot
specifically?
of points. First, it's because I'm an Asian woman. Living in Malaysia, there is a lot of cultures here. Like the majority of Malaysians consist of the Malay, the Chinese, and the Indians, and we all live in harmony. So for me, I've already been exposed to different like traditions, cultural foods, heritage. But one thing I realized as well is during the pandemic. Asians were also getting a lot of hate due
Mm,
to the virus and stuff like that. So I personally got attacked as well. When I was on Discord in the NFT communities,
mm,
that's where you would introduce yourself. You'll be like, "Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm from Asia. Da da da. I'm a woman and stuff like that." And then because they are anonymous, right? Like they are just internet people where you don't know who they are. They would just say really mean things to you and just
mm,
nasty things to you. Be like, oh, go back to Asia, go back to China. Like you don't belong here. You are the virus creator, stuff like that, which isn't pleasant, right? So for me, I think to kind of turn these people down sometimes is you just need to stand up for yourself, and also to stand up for yourself you first need to kind of be out there, to put the Asian cultures out there,
mm,
and then kind of get everybody together, and to not be so not to say racist, but basically just to celebrate our own differences.
Yeah.
Right. So even with Asians, Asians, there are not just the Chinese or the Japanese or the Koreans, right? Like the whole Asia is huge. So that's something that I wanted to kind of celebrate and kind of represent in the space. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you talk about celebrating the Asian culture, right, I think there's not much project or even representation of Asian in this Web3 space, right?
Yeah. Not much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
is that
even for women, even like representing women back then, when I was in the space, the first one that actually started a women collection was World of Women.
yeah,
I'm not sure if you know World of
yeah.
Women. Yeah. So I was really excited when they came out. I think it was on June or July, 2 years ago. Yeah.
And then
So
shortly, Asian was born, right?
yeah, about like 6 months later. So we launched on December 28th,
Mm.
2021. Yeah.
Mm. So in that case, like because today's topic, right, is to share with everyone like how to run a successful NFT project. Because in this space, I believe that for those who are tuning in, if you are in Web3 space or you are into NFT, you might heard a lot of I would say stories about NFTs, about NFT not being successful. There's a lot of NFT project out there. So what do you think, because for your case, right, for Asian, you when you guys launch your 8,888 NFT in less than a day or in a week, right, you guys had
No,
been
in 2 weeks.
in
Yeah.
two
So we
weeks yeah.
actually had a really like considered slow mint because back then due to the supply and the demand, like there's not much NFT being made every day.
Mm,
I remember back then on December, there was only about 60 to 70 NFT projects coming out a day, which is not a lot. That time. So due to the supply and the demand, like there is definitely a shortage of NFT. Back then,
mm.
anything that is an NFT could sell like in instant. So for us, like other projects did really well. Some of them sold out in 4 minutes, some in 2 minutes, some in like an hour or a day. We sold out for 2 weeks, which at that time didn't look really good. But yeah, we made it through.
Yeah, and when you talk about it, um because after you guys have sold your 8,888 NFT, right, slowly you move into having collaborations with big brands and stuff like that. So maybe you can share with the audience like what are the various collaboration that you guys have started ever since you guys launch your NFT project.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe before I get to that, I just want to kind of share as well why collaboration, right? Because back then when we were reaching out to a lot of Web2 companies to do collaboration, we actually do get comments saying that, oh, you should just stick to the Web3 space. Like why are you reaching out to Web2 companies to do collaboration? Because one thing that I realized after I sold out is that I actually wasn't minting JPEGs, right? I was actually like minting IPs. So if you look at it, all NFT projects, they all have their own artwork. Although some of their companies, they are not trademarked or they didn't copyright their, they didn't register or kind of patent their artwork, it's actually IP, right? The fact that people can look at this penguin out of all the penguins in the internet and know that this is a pudgy penguin, that's IP right there. So that's something that I realized that the true value. I know that people always say that the value is community, right? That's where your value is at. But then at the same time, without IP, your community wouldn't exist. And also, that's why I do think that the true value lies in your IP. It's just like Mickey Mouse, right? They are 100 years old, and until today, when I look at a mouse, I know that that's Mickey Mouse. So this is why for me to kind of grow the brand, because back then there is only about 30 million users in NFTs, and in the real world there is 8 billion people.
Mm.
So to do the math, if we were to reach out to if we want to achieve like mainstream adoption, we definitely need to do some ways on somewhat to connect to the real world, some like in some ways. So for me, that's the only way is through collaboration. This is why back then there is a Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is one of the largest NFT project. They collaborated with Adidas, right? So for me, when I sold out, I actually thought about it. I said, if there is a clothing brand that I wanted to work with, who would it be? And there is no way. I mean, there is no one else that I would want to work with other than Uniqlo. I'm a huge fan of Uniqlo. This is a Uniqlo shirt as well. And I think they are the largest Asian clothing store, right? Like clothing brand in the entire world. So that's where we kind of team up. We sat together and said that, okay, I want to work with Uniqlo. Back then, when I told this to the team, they all laughed at me. They was like, Nicole, there's no way, because even local companies, like local small companies, you don't even want to work with us. Then my team was like, Nicole, you're thinking too far ahead. And I was like, no, there is definitely a way to do this. So then we sat down and we gathered, we built a team of a partnership team. So we had a partnership team of, I think it was about like 10 people, right? So every day what they do is that they will just reach out to people on LinkedIn. They will send out emails, they will call people, and then they will just kind of reach out to see how we can get the partnership to work. So that's what happened. And then 6 months later, we managed to secure a partnership with Uniqlo.
Wow.
So then that was that came live on August. Yeah, August last year. Yeah. So ever since, I have been trying to kind of put my foot in the retail fashion beauty industry. And, every day has been really interesting, like just meeting people, meeting like industry leaders, like fashion artists, things like that. So yeah.
Good. Thanks for sharing. Because like following you on Instagram, it basically show that you are going a lot of places representing, and sometimes when you attend event, you will dress up right into like the sari or even the Noya outfit, right?
Yeah, traditional costumes. Yes.
Yeah. So is that something that you want to like showcase or represent to let the world know? Most of the NFT space or even the web space, right? We hardly see like the Asian costumes being showcased. Is that one of your intention or something that you want to share with everyone to the world?
Yeah, so I would say my personal story when I was like 10 or 12, when I was like a teenager. You know how I'm not sure if your school has this, but sometimes there is special occasions where you can dress up to school.
Yeah, racial
And
harmony, we have that in
yeah,
Singapore.
yeah, definitely. So when I was younger, we also had that, and I think there is like, I don't know, you have like 4 times a year or something during the school term. And each time, whenever I had to wear my traditional costume, I get really upset. Like I would get so upset, right? And somehow this is very embarrassing to say, but I was ashamed of my own culture. I just felt like, oh, like the traditional costume is not cool enough. I didn't want to wear this to school. And then at the same time, people would, I mean, I thought that people would laugh at me. I think it's because I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. So growing up, that is what happened in my teenage years. But then after being a mom, after turning a mom, I mean becoming a mom at 20 years old. So my daughter, one day when she was 2 years old, she asked me that, she said, can she learn Chinese? And then for me, because I can't speak Mandarin, but I can write. So at that point, I was actually, I felt kind of sad because I can't teach her, and this is why, for me right now, I do think that it's really important to embrace who we are. So the past year, I have been going to a lot of conferences, panels, talks, and when I was in Paris, I was speaking at this event called Women in Tech. So it's one of the largest women in tech conferences that is held every year. So you have like the CEO of like NASA, you have like, princesses and like, just really amazing people. And I was the only Asian girl, like the only Malaysian girl there. So I dressed up in my baju nyonya. I went to the stage, and because it's in Paris, right? You don't even see people dressing up like other than like, fashionable things.
Yeah.
And when I was walking on the street, people asked me, they was like, "What brand is this? Like, you look amazing. What brand is this?" And I had to tell them, I said, "This is not a brand. Like, this is a traditional costume, right?" So at that time when I was in Paris, I was so proud. I only brought one set, but then I wore it for like 2 days, just because like I just wanted to show it off.
Yeah.
So that is something that I constantly want to do, is to kind of wear the traditional costume, kind of making it cool again. And one thing that I'm really proud to say is that, because last time when I meet my friends for Chinese New Year, we usually wouldn't dress up. I don't know why. It's just the millennials thoughts or whatever. They just don't want to wear like
Is
old
it like
things,
it's
right?
not cool, not
It's
cool to
not
wear?
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not cool, right? But then recently, ever since I started Asian and getting my friends on board on Asian, the last Chinese New Year reunion that we had, as friends, they all came in traditional costumes, and I just felt so proud. Like I can see how we all kind of shift, our minds. Like, we are just so proud of like wearing like the cheongsam and our own traditional costumes. So I think that is really important to kind of bring it down to like generations as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like the part where you say that because you did that, you have that mindset shift because of your daughter coming to you, that that dawn upon you that, hey, I should embody our culture. I should be a role model for our kids, right? That's where you started to embrace that, and now on the international stage, people are noticing the culture, that you're wearing the costume, you're being the representative or uh, representation of Asia in the world stage. So having said that, right, what like, because I saw that this Chinese New Year that just passed, right? You were wearing your cheongsam, right? So is that also another way for you to really influence other people, your friends, to really um, carry that, be proud of ourselves as Asian?
Yes, yes, I definitely think so. So I do think that if you want to change the world, you need to change yourself. And then
Yep.
after you have adapt to the skill sets, or the kind of the things that you want to do, then you can slowly kind of share that values to the people around you. And I do think that it's kind of like a snowball effect, right?
Mm-mm.
Because like, if today I managed to convince 4 people that it's cool again to wear this traditional costume, they will also go back and go to their 4 other circle of friends
Yep.
to kind of tell them like, hey, let's bring the traditional culture cool again. And I think that is how we can make the world a better place. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like that because you are basically being the role model, being the leader to lead that, and at the same time also being a woman, being a mom in the Web3 space, in launching NFT that represent Asian culture and Asian women. So, what are the challenges that you face during this journey? Can you share with us? What are
Um,
the
so
challenges?
yeah, so I mean, starting my NFT project,
Yep.
yeah, there is a lot of challenges, I would say, because simply because if people like, if you think about crypto, blockchain, NFTs, the first thing that people will think about is that they don't understand what it is,
Yep.
and secondly, it's too complex. And then when it's too complex, especially women entrepreneurs that are not in tech, they'll feel that this is not part of their scope. It's just like you need to have a certain skill set to be an astronaut, and it feels like we are so far away from that. So to me, I do think that there is nothing we can't do as women. There is no such thing that this industry is only for men. I do know that there are industries like race car drivers. The other day, a few years ago, they said that there isn't any women drivers. But right now, there is an upcoming women race car drivers, and they are
Yep.
and they are pretty good at it. So I do think that a lot of the times it's more of the mindset, right? Back then, when I wanted to start a NFT project, when I was going to a few advisors, right, just to get their advice, some of them told me to my face and said that, Nicole, this is not a place for you because you need to know how to code. You know, this is a male space, and it kind of feels like that is how society is kind of telling women that, you know, women are not supposed to be in tech, or like it's just not right
Mm.
for you. It's just not the industry that you should go to and adventure. So I think at the end of the day, it's all about your mindset. Yeah.
And coming back to you talk about the mindset, right? Because you are stepping into the Web3 space for the first time, you're facing this kind of challenges and struggles, right? What makes you continue this journey, like continue to be in this space? Because I think it definitely is challenging, especially for you. There's not much maybe women, especially launching NFT project like what you do. So how do you feel and how do you overcome it? Like the mindset, or how do you, like, do you have someone to talk to or someone that you look upon to that brings you to the next level?
Yes, of course. There's a lot of people that I look up to in the space. Um, what is interesting about being here, it's everything, I think. First is the whole idea of being able to build a business, to build a empire, to build a brand just from my house. You know, that is something that I'm
Mm,
so grateful for, and that's something that I really, really like. Personally, I don't really enjoy going out that much. Most of the time I stay home. If I can, I would just want to stay home forever. I know that I travel a lot, but most of the time it's because of work, or it's because I need to meet someone.
yeah.
So I think that is one of the brownie points, or like or like the points that, you know, this is why I want to be in this space. Because before stepping into the NFT space, I used to run a bubble tea store. So it's a bubble tea chain
Mm,
in Malaysia, and back then we had about 20 outlets during pre-pandemic era. I think right now maybe there is 16 or 17. So I was in the F&B industry, and being in the food and beverage industry, and then especially there is staff, and then you need to go to the store, you need to check, you need to do, you know, there's just so many things that you need to do, right? And although I do enjoy that part of the business, but at the same time, if I were to choose, right, this is definitely something that would keep me exciting. Um, so I would say that with any businesses, there will be challenges, especially as a
mm,
founder, right? You will need to wear different hats. And for me, when I was starting this NFT project, one thing that is really, really interesting about this NFT project is because there is no set guidelines, or like, you know, rules that you need to follow. There's literally no rules, and because
mm,
we were kind of like the first NFT project to represent women, and you know, in Asia, we basically get to set
yeah.
the rules, and then we kind of get to be the
Yep.
first market mover to kind of set examples to the
Mm-mm.
upcoming future artists, or like future projects that we want to be in the space. So I think that is one thing that is exciting to me, is that I just get to do whatever I want.
Mm,
But at the same time, I think that the challenges is that because I get to do whatever I want, you know, the chances to fail is really high, because
mm,
all it takes is just one thing for you to mess it up, and then even when you are um, at risk, all right, or even when you needed help, like you wouldn't even know where to go to, right?
mm,
Because even back then, I remember when I was reaching out to developers because I couldn't code. So I met this guy. This guy, his name is Alex, right? So I was reaching out to him because he's a smart contract developer. So this was in
mm,
December 2021, like December 21, and I asked him. I said, "How much does it cost for you to make a smart contract for me?" He charged me 60,000 US dollars for one smart contract, which is insane because
wow.
that's definitely way too much. Like it's just too much, right?
Yeah.
Of course, we thankfully we didn't go ahead with him, but coming back to today, if we were to kind of have a smart contract, it depends on the quality, right? I mean, it depends on the inputs that you want to do, but the basic one could just be like, I don't know, probably 1,000, 2,000 US dollars, or even lesser than that. So, the space have definitely changed a lot. And as a founder, you need to make things work. You just need to figure things out, right? So back then, there is no way you could find a smart contract developer because nobody understood like solidity. I mean, like there was really, really little people that could do, but that is, I would say that is definitely one of the challenges that I had. And secondly, would also be bringing a team together, because my core team for 8SIAN, when we first started, we had about 7 people. And until today, people still don't believe me, but these 7 people, I haven't met them in my entire life. Like I just picked them like in the NFT community, or like they're like friends, and we just gathered together, and then they were all around the world. Like my dev was from Egypt, and then one team was in London, was in Melbourne, and then Thailand. It's like all over the world, in Japan. So that is also one thing that I really like, and also had to learn the hard way, is that because everybody was in a different time zone, and you had to do a lot of coordination, right? So, and everything is like through like online, which is also sometimes could be really frustrating, right? But yeah, that's how we just kind of pull everything together and then just make things work. Yeah.
I can hear the excitement when you talk about everybody is all around the world, and you're just embracing and enjoying this journey of even working with people all around the world which you have not met, and that is also precisely the it show us the future of work, like what is the future that the work environment should be. You may not have met them in person, but you are already working with them, finding out ways, figuring out the time zone and stuff like that. So what would you say is the most enjoyable moment in this whole journey?
I would say it's the people that you meet. The people that you meet, and because this space is so new and everyone is trying to figure things out, everyone is really open to connect with you and to speak to you and kind of collaborate. And I think that is the fun part. That is really the fun part. So far, I haven't, you know, kind of not reach out to someone that I wanted to talk to. Like even all these big brands that you see on billboards, on television, and in the real world, there is no way like their director or like whoever would speak to you, right? But because you're in the NFT space, and brands are also looking to jumping into the space, all like you definitely need to connect. They also need to connect with like current communities and like ongoing communities as well. So I would say is the opportunities that you get here in the space definitely is so much more than what you usually get in like the Web2 space. Yeah.
Is it because like the space is still very new, people are still figuring out, and or is it because the Web3 is more community driven, and at the same time is there's because of Web3 the blockchain, there's inclusivity and diversity inside. That's why the whole culture in Web3 is really like harmony, really exchanging, really connecting. Would you say that is because of the of what blockchain is all about, what Web3 is all about? That's why the culture here is more friendly, more harmonious and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess it's also because nobody knows what's happening. Like nobody knows what
Still
they're
figuring.
doing. Yeah. Like I don't think I'm the expert. I don't think I have the largest community. I don't think I have the strongest community. I don't. But you know, I do think that everybody's just trying to figure things out. And instead of being enemies, why don't we kind of come together and figure things out together, so that at the end of the day, everybody wins,
Yep.
because everyone have the same goal regardless of what we're doing in our respective projects, is to reach mainstream adoption, is to get more people into the space, to get people to believe in cryptocurrencies, that this is the future. And yeah, I would say this is why we are also open to work with each other. I do have met people that didn't want to work with me, or didn't want to communicate with people, or just wanted to do their own thing. And you can see that this, I mean, when you have that kind of mindset, that's where your traction, your communities, your followers, and everything will tend to slow down. And that is actually proven, because if you, I'm not going to name names, but then there are people that they are kind of just not open to collaboration. And in this space, with that, unless you're a really, really huge name, even if you're a really, really big name, you might not make it, right? Because as you said, this is a really community driven industry.
Yeah.
So collaboration is key. And I think what is that quote that is it? Your network is your net worth. Yeah,
correct.
which I think it's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And I totally agree with you that in this space, there are people who are not into, I would say, maybe they more of themselves. They want it for themselves rather than for everyone. Where the Web3 space, from what I've observed in the past 1 year or so, is that everybody need to come together to collaborate, to work hand in hand to build this whole platform together, or even this space together. So thanks for sharing on your challenges and your encouragement. What you feel that is the thing that's keeping you going. So coming back, because knowing that you are a mom with two kids, how is running this NFT project, or even running this business, uh, what is it like for you as a mom with two kids? Especially they are still young, right? So how is it like
Yeah.
for you? Because you mentioned that you can stay at home most of the time. If you're not traveling, you'll be at home. So how is it like for you compared to your previous venture?
It has definitely been different. Because I'm a mom of two. My kids are 5 and 2, so they are still really young. They still need a lot of like our attention. They still need us to play with them, and a lot of guidance as well in school and homework. Fetching them to, like to school and things like that. And I do think this is the time where like we would, like as parents, we should spend more, like most time with them, because you don't want to miss, yeah, you know
The moments.
them, yeah, like the small moments, right? So I do think that, yeah, it's been doing great. And I this is why I love the space, because I get to work from home.
Yeah.
But for me, what are the challenges? I guess it's with time, because it feels like there is not enough time for me every day. I try to wake up earlier, and sometimes that kind of gives me like an hour or 2 hour time ahead of people, because I get to start my work earlier and my day earlier. But then at the same time, until today, it's been like 6 years. I'm still trying to figure out. I think as moms, we will always be, you know, trying to find the right balance between work and between like spending time with the kids, because you can never, I mean, there is not enough time. I mean, that you can never spend enough time with your kids, like even if you spend like 3-4 hours a day, you will still think that that's not enough. Especially like as moms, you have like mom guilt.
Yeah.
Sometimes whenever I miss one of her occasion in school, or I can't bring her to this place, or I can't go to this place with her due to like work. Yeah, I do feel really bad, as you know but that's something that we have to deal with, I guess. Yeah.
So how do you deal with that mom's guilt? That means for the past few years, how do you deal with it, or you are also constantly learning from other people on how to deal with, or trying to make more time, or maybe instead of spending more time, maybe you spend more quality time with them. How do
yeah
you
I,
deal with that?
yeah I think having a fixed schedule works. Just like after she come back from school, I will spend like 2 hours with her, and I would just kind of just put my phone away. I would block out my calendar, and nobody could come in for meetings or anything, and that's the time where I spend quality time with her. And sometimes it's not about the amount of hours, right? As you said,
Yeah.
it's actually the amount of quality time. So if even if there is only 40 minutes a day for me to just speak with her, because she's 5 and she have her own phone, and she's always on Minecraft and stuff like that. So at that time, we would both put our phones away as well, and that's where we really talk. And she'll tell me about things that happen in school. Like kids
The
have their
bonding
own
time, right?
stories. Yeah, like the bonding time. And I do think that ever since I set that kind of schedules in my calendar, I do feel better, because at least I know what is, like, I have keep updated. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm up to date with like her lifestyle and the things that she's going through and stuff like that. Because I think as parents, especially when your kids start to go to school, they start making friends, and then they start being upset about their friends or like things like that. You just want to make sure that they're okay,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that is
Yeah.
basically where
Because
I'm at.
for me, I've been through that. My daughter is now 14 years old, so for that stage I've already been through, and now is like her time. She spend more time with the friends, chatting with the friends, but at the same time, like you mentioned, which is also time blocking, and to be 100% present, like the phones aside, you just spend the time to chat with her, and really be present. I think that is very useful tips for a lot of parents out there, especially for mothers, to deal with the mom's guilt. So um, coming back to your entrepreneurship, right? What would you say? Is there an aha moment, right, that tells you that this is the path for me, or this is like entrepreneurship is for me, like working for people is not for me? Was there an aha moment when you decided what you want to do?
Yes, definitely. So when I started Asian, I was still running my bubble tea store, and it was actually do like the store is still doing really well. Like we were still making profits, although it was like during pandemic, right, where a lot of the bubble tea stores, F&B,
Affected.
chains were deeply affected, and somehow we were still able to sustain due to like the location, and there was still like hype for like bubble teas, right? So that was still running, but then I was home a lot, and then I wanted to start my NFT project. And this was on December, right? So when we launched on December, then we sold out on January last year. That's where I really kind of have full focus on the NFT project, and slowly I kind of neglected, or like I didn't spend as much time managing the store. And I do think that's that's where that's where I kind of struggle to balance both businesses and companies. So for me, I don't think that I'm someone that I can do like two things at the same time. That's where I made the decision. I said that, okay, if I were to choose, I will definitely, go with my NFT project. Although things are really unstable, you don't know what's gonna happen next. You don't know if you will be able to make it, because back then nobody knows what they're doing, right? So I mean, like even until today, we're still trying to figure things out. But I took a leap of faith, and I told myself that there's only one life to live, and I don't want to live the safe life. I want to do something that I want to do, and this is something that I'm passionate about. So yeah, so that's where I just let go of my bubble tea chain. I sold it back to the franchisor, and just focus on Asian. Yeah.
Wow. Because when you say that, it seems like your passion, right, into NFT, in this in the purpose, which is to um, advocate or even to promote Asia culture and empower Asian women. I think that give you that passion and that purpose to really work on it, and it just spin off to really to become a business. Because when I first met you, you were saying that it was just an idea. It was just something that you want to do, and it spin off to something that you never expected to be like that, right? So that whole journey just started, and I can see that now you're still continuing, and there's a lot of new things that is coming up. So this the next question that I'm going to ask, right? This is a question that I always ask a lot of mompreneurs, which is what if you are not a mom? What will you be doing now? What will your life be like? It's more hypothetical. This
Yeah.
is just something more curious. Would that be a change, or you will still be the same?
So if I wasn't a mom, because it's really interesting for my journey. I mean, on how I became a mom. I was actually still in college. I was 20 years old, and Christmas came early for me. So I was a student in Melbourne. I was studying in Australia, and you know I met my husband, and then we got married young because Christmas came early, and I still wanted to finish my school. So I was still in school. I was going to school, and with like 9 months pregnant,
Wow.
going to class, and of course it wasn't easy. Being like the only pregnant girl in the entire school, and it was so obvious, right? It definitely wasn't easy. Then that's where that's where I learned a lot as well, that at the end of the
Mm,
day, other people's opinion don't really matter, and as long as you're comfortable with your own skin and like with yourself, and you know what you're doing. I don't These are just noises.
mm,
And I for me, I do think that if I wasn't a mom, I would still be at my um,
you studying?
immature phase.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
immature phase. Yeah, because before I was a mom, my mentality, my mindset, everything has changed. So I don't know what I would be doing.
Mhm.
Probably finish school. Probably I'll probably be living in Melbourne, because that's where that's what I wanted to do.
Mm,
I'll probably get a job because I was studying business. Um, so I'll probably be working probably in a bank or
mm.
somewhere.
But
Yeah, so
not
this
but
is
not
what.
starting a business, right? But definitely not
No,
starting.
definitely. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah,
Mm. So would you
it's hard to say. Yeah.
would you say that motherhood basically give you the courage, or change you in a way, like you mentioned about maturity, right? So motherhood basically um, make you more matured, and at the same time you start to think about maybe more of the future. Would you say that?
Yeah, definitely. I do think that being a mother, you get to learn what true love really is, what conditional love really means.
Mm,
Because before a mom, I would always put myself first in everything that I do, right? I mean, it's just a human survival skill, right? It's that you will always put yourself first, even with buying things, or like things like that. But after being a mom, naturally, you would always put your kids' safety first, happiness first,
mm,
and you would do anything for them. So I do think that it really did shape me as like a
mm,
entire person, for like how, like probably how I view life. And also, like as I mentioned, because I was like 20, and I was like in college, but like pregnant, right? So people did judge me, like people did say really nasty things because I wasn't married first, right?
mm,
And especially like being in Australia, like things just wasn't easy. But then it's okay, right? Because I then get to learn and grow so much as
mm,
a person. So this is why right now I wouldn't say that I don't care what other people think of me. I probably still do, because at the end of the day, we always want to be loved and
yeah,
accepted by people around you. But at the same time, if people don't like you, I'm actually fine with that. I have,
mm,
people have said really nasty things to me, and also especially with the NFT project, right? I was reaching
mm,
out to a lot of companies, and although they were all open to like to talk to us, probably 99% of them said no to us, and some of
mm,
them, they don't say it in a nice way, right? So I think I also learned how to deal with rejection and
yeah,
kind of embrace it, right? So
mm,
maybe it's just not the right time right now. But if I were to um, kind of think of myself as a 20-year-old and in that kind of mindset when I wasn't a mom, I think I would act out really differently, because growing
mm.
up, I've always been really protected by my parents. I always had this like princess attitude. I couldn't do things myself. I can't go out myself. I need people next to me. And after being a mom, like that's where I got my like belt together and be like,
And,
okay,
and your
I
superpower,
can.
right?
yeah, you just need to you need to be independent. You know, you can't be depending on like other people to do shit, like to do stuff for you anymore. So I definitely have grown a lot, you know. So I think the answer to your question is that if I wasn't a mom, what would I be? I would be trying to be a mom. Yeah.
Well, that's a very nice answer to the question,
Yeah.
and I can see
Yeah.
that how much you have also saw how much you have changed, like from that 20-year-old young lady and now become a mom with two kids, the maturity, and you became stronger, and that I think that contribute to you being in the business, being an entrepreneur because of rejection, overcome obstacles, and also because you're not doing for yourself anymore, right? You're doing for doing for your kids, doing for your family, and doing for even for Asian women through the project itself. So now we are more or less coming to almost the end of the show, and maybe I would like to ask you this one last question. So what advice would you give moms who still want to start business in the Web3 space? So what advice would you give to them, or not necessarily in Web3, or for them to start business? What advice would you give them?
I do think that as women, we will need to. No, it's really important to be financially independent. You know, regardless of who our parents are, who our brother is, who our husband is, who our partner is. You need to have something ongoing for yourself. And that is not just, you know, it's not just about the money, right? It's about having to do something. And I think as humans, it's really important to make sure that we are constantly improving ourselves, constantly connecting with new people, constantly innovating in some ways. So I would encourage like everyone, you know, even if you are like a stay-at-home mom, you know, you don't have to quit your full-time mom to kind of like go venture into be like a businesswoman, like
Mm,
save lives and stuff. But you know, it's really important to have something ongoing for you on the side. So that is something that I would advise, because I do have a lot of friends that, you know, came from a really comfortable family, and a lot of times after they have finished school, their families will tell them and say that you don't need to work because, like, you know, daddy will support you, or like you just get a rich husband and he will support you. And there is real life case studies and things that I've seen out there that, of course, that is great, but at the same time it will come with a lot of problems because, just like me, imagine if you know, I go to school and I learn all these skill sets, you know, ready for the world, and ended up like for the next 20-30 years of my life is just
mm,
to kind of stay home, right? So that is not the point, right? The point is not to just make money, is
yeah.
to kind of level up yourself. And I do think, I have been also talking about this a lot from like with the group of my friends. And a lot of them, when they were staying home, they felt really unhappy. And that is something that a lot of girls are actually experiencing, because it feels like you don't really have a sense of purpose in life, or like every day you're just doing the same thing, like waking up, making sure the house is clean and everything. And of course, I have full respect to like, you know, moms that are making sure the house is okay, because that's what I do too. Like every day I will make sure the house is okay and everything.
Mm,
But I think what keeps me going, and what you know makes me happy, is that I have something to look forward to, and kind of like a good cause as well. So that is definitely my advice for all moms, women out there. But for the Web3 space, I would say that this space is definitely open to everyone to join. You don't need to have special skill sets. You don't need to know how to draw. You don't need to know how to like do codes and, you know, stuff like that. As long as you have an idea, I think you will just figure it out. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much, Nicole, for sharing your advice for the mothers or even women who want to be in this space. Thanks a lot. And something that want to share with everyone, that Nicole has something upcoming that I find is really really amazing. She's also very happy to share with all of you, which is this coming Valentine, celebrating Valentine with both Singapore and Asia NFT. So, Nicole, maybe you want to share a bit more with the audience. What is this maybe campaign or this project is about?
Yeah, so our next collaboration that will be happening on the 14th of February would be a Vogue collaboration. So it's a Vogue Singapore collaboration with Asian. So we will be selling NFTs. So if you are looking to jump into the space and you haven't bought, and you're thinking to own an NFT, this would be a good entry level for you to kind of come in and get your first NFT. So the website will be live on the 13th of February. It would be asian.io/Vogue. You have it in the details below.
Yeah.
So yeah, do check it out.
Thank you, Nicole. So for those who want to get your first step into NFT, or you want to really check it out, what is this NFT all about? Especially, um, I'm very happy for Nicole to be able to have this collaboration with Vogue Singapore, and this is something that I would say. Um, let more women to come in to celebrate, to even embrace or even step into NFT, step into the Web3. So thanks a lot, Nicole, for sharing. So Nicole, maybe you can share with the audience how can they get connected with you?
Yes, sure. So I'm active on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Twitter. So my handle is at 8SIANMOM. So it's 8SIANMOM. So why Asian mom is because my project is Asian and I'm a mom. So that's why Asian mom. So yeah, happy to connect and thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Nicole, for sharing. And also for those who want to get connected with Nicole, you can check out the handle below. And if you want to check out the NFT or what NFT they have, you can check out the handle, which is at Asian NFT. All right. So once again, thanks, Nicole, for sharing with us, for making time. To attend this or even to make time for this interview, for this podcast, and whatever you share, I guess the audience or even for the mothers who are tuning in, who are streaming in, they will be learning from you much more. And I believe that you will be a great role model for a lot of mothers, for a lot of women in this coming Web3 space. So once again, thanks, Nicole, for sharing, for making time. And thanks everyone for watching and listening. And I will see you guys next week with our new guest. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you,
Yep.
everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.